And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We got Crusty Old Guy once again. Folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. Crusty, it's an important day on the hockey calendar.
Because it's Canada Day?
Because it's Canada Day. And because it's July 1. It's day one of free agency. We got some free agency frenzy up in here, which we kind of figured with, how the last couple of weeks have been going with trades and rumors and things that maybe this would be a year that free agency would be a little crazy. It's not every year, but if you're this year, it might be a little bananas.
It is bananas. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of people already moving and shaking. But before we get into kind of who has moved, Christy, I think we should explain what kind of goes on in the beginning of July. What is the point of free agency frenzy? We don't have to go super into it, but kind of, who are the people that can move versus the people who can kind of, sort of move. A UFA versus RFA 101.
All right.
So for new hockey fans, we've got, what is a UFA? That is an unrestricted free agent. Essentially, once your season ends and come July 1, if you're a UFA, you're unemployed. You're just unemployed, looking for your next job. You can go really anywhere, be it NHL, wherever you want to go. There's plenty of UFAs that, if they're European players, end up going back to Europe. They find another NHL team. You can really go wherever. Then you have the RFAs, which are restricted free agents, which means your contract is done, but you're still kind of under the grasps of your employer. So basically, your employer is the one that gets to say, actually, we'd like to keep you. Here's some more money, more years, and play more hockey here. Or they release those talents and let you go.
Correct. The only little bit with the RFA is basically you're under control of the team. You have to make a qualifying offer to said player. Qualifying offer is their salary from the year before plus 10%.
Mm-hmm.
That's to qualify them. And that way they maintain their rights. They are still able to then negotiate with them. And other teams are then allowed to offer sheet.
Yes. Kind of what is going on with Connor right now. That's an RFA. The ones that we're going to talk about for the most part are UFAs that have kind of just found other homes.
For the most part, yes.
All right, Krusty. I've got a list. I have not
checking it twice. Oh, okay.
There are a lot of things that have happened. This is why we had to do a later recording session. One, because Krusty has school, always be learning. And two, because, I didn't want to record this earlier, hour 2 into free agent frenzy. Now we have a list of things that we can talk about. We can speculate.
Yes, because it would have been really, really rough doing it during the day, because I'm sure as much as I speed bump this show,
we would just be scrolling through our phones.
Yes, our phones would be speed bumping it and going, hey, just in.
Exactly.
So we're working late at night. Just letting you know, for you, our viewers.
All right. I think the first one, really, we have so many that we can talk about. I've got some just re-signing some UFAs and some trades. First big one that I want to talk about is the Bob is on the move. I believe we talked about this yesterday at lunch. The Bob
We did.
on the move. And this one, it was rumored for quite a while. There was a, not sure, honest to goodness, not sure if it was an AI thing, but there was a picture leaked from the inside of Scotiabank with like Bobrovsky in like a Maple Leafs helmet, like them practicing projection, like the TV stuff that they do during the games. That had came out a while ago. So unsure what that was, but the Bob is on the move to Toronto. You kind of figured Toronto was going to go out and try to get a goaltender with all of the goaltender switcheroo that they've been having leading up to, I want to say, the last couple of weeks. And they got Bob.
Yes, they did.
If you're Toronto and you're Chaika, you have to give pieces for Gavin McKenna's first year. You cannot just simply put out Gavin McKenna on an iceberg with no pieces around them, because that would be crazy, right? No team would just like take a number one draft pick and not give him pieces to be supported around him. That would be borderline insane. So Chaika went out and got the Bob.
Yeah, we had talked about this a couple weeks ago, that basically with the Matthews situation, with the number one pick, this team was not going to be tearing it down. They are going to be competitive as all get out with the hopes of being able to sign Matthews and keep everybody together. So that's what they've been doing. The Bob gives them a veteran goaltender that's very old, that from everything that I've heard is in unbelievable shape, and knows how to win and definitely can handle the pressure of said Toronto.
Yeah.
So, it's a move they needed to have. They needed somebody with some confidence back there, and they at least have that. Bob is very confident in what the Bob can do.
Yeah.
And you are sending a signal to everybody. We're in win now mode. So we'll see if that actually.
Like?
I do not know. We'll get into that in a little bit, but
we're definitely going to get into that in a little bit. Because wow. Cressy, do you want me to keep going with my list, or do you have any?
I am completely unprepared. So as the, what's the guy? The maestro.
All right.
Of the show, you will put everything in place, and then I'll try to comment if, I can actually think of something.
Well, with one leaving Florida, we have an addition to Florida, a new addition to the Goon Squad of the Florida Panthers. That's right, folks. The Florida Panthers are no longer an NHL team. They are a WWE roster coming September. You've got the return of Radko Gudas for a wacky contract, a 6-year, $1.5 million for a 36-year-old man. Guys, do we think that Gudas is going to finish out this contract? No, but I'm all for players getting their bank, and Florida really seems to be embracing this Goon Squad mentality. So it makes sense for this edition.
Yeah, this had been rumored a little bit. They went and, they traded for his rights.
Yep.
Is he playing another 6 years? I can't believe that. 1.5 is nothing. Like any team that's chasing cups, you'll pay for it at some point in time.
Right.
I've heard people saying, listen, they have so many people that aren't going to, we need to put a cap on, the injured reserve list, the this, the that.
Okay, but then there's like times for the Chicago Blackhawks 2 years ago where truly everybody was injured. That was an honest to goodness, very lengthy injured reserve. And us saying that we don't think Radko Gudas will finish out this contract is not a knock to him and his playing ability. Even if you're like a younger kid, your playing years in the NHL are never guaranteed. Like, no one knows what can happen.
Yes, and the older you get, the odds are that you won't be playing much longer. It's kind of the same way in life.
Yeah. Next one, let's see. I'm trying to bounce around from San Jose because we'll get into the Mike Greer stuff in a moment because, guys, he's been making a lot of phone calls. His phone has been ringing off the hook. You've got Freddie Anderson moving on from the Carolina Hurricanes, signing a 1-year contract with the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton is in a constant position where they just need goaltending all the time. You know, Skinner for Yari trade did not work out, and now Skinner going to Winnipeg. You need a goaltender. Is Freddie the guy that can take you there? Can he do what he did last year? I don't know. If he can, that's great for Edmonton, but that's also a giant if. Do I think Freddie puts them in a better position than Tristan Yari in net? For sure. But that's a big if. I don't think there's any risk for picking up Freddie, but I don't think you're necessarily done in your constant goaltending search.
No, you probably aren't. This almost has shades of like they might carry 3.
And if they do, fine. We saw that work for Carolina.
Yeah. Freddie, you're looking at kind of the same thing that happened in Carolina. You're thinking, okay, veteran guy, now with a cup, but we can't play him a lot during the regular season. You're going to have to manage his time. As long as you have Yari, he's still going to have to play at least, I'd go almost 50% of the games.
Right.
So you're still counting on Yari to be at least above serviceable. Again, like teams in these situations, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. And if we know anything about goaltending now,
it's wacky, and it gets wackier every year.
Yeah, we have maybe 7 goaltenders, 8, that we really think are solid year in, year out. And after that, people catch fire, the fire goes out, and you just don't know. As you stated, do you think Edmonton's done for the year in the crease? Oh, heck no. Who knows what's going to happen?
I would think, we really saw Edmonton be quiet, kind of during draft weekend. But I'm really surprised Edmonton didn't get in on packaging something to get Kosa from the Red Wings. Because I don't think that's a complete fix it, but I think you're going to have to package something to get a goaltender for your future. Otherwise, this is going to be constant.
Yeah, again, you attempt to do that through the draft. They're looking. They have a 2-year gap. All they're looking at is winning this year. That's really all they can focus on. And if we know Stan at all, it's what he's good at. He's focusing on the this year. So Kosa, again, you're in such a power-packed place right now that Edmonton is. You know full well you have the best player in the game, and you know full well all of these people are leaving if trouble happens again this year. That's a lot of pressure to put on a Kosa. especially for as dysfunctional as everything still is there.
Right. I
mean, they're becoming Toronto West almost, aren't they?
Oh, for sure. I was just thinking, like, yes, that would be a lot to put on Coast, but I'm thinking longer term, which, like you said, isn't Stan's strong point. I feel like the constant rotation that they've been doing, first they have Skinner, and as we realize, them losing was not all on Stuart Skinner as much as the city of Edmonton chooses to believe otherwise. It was Stuart Skinner was not the problem. And then after that, it just seems like you're trying to put tape on a bullet hole.
Yeah, but again, they're not done. So, but yeah, they're going to continue to dress things up, and hope. That's a really good team. That just has to be a little bit better defensively, but so much is covered up during the regular season with their offensive output that you still don't know what you're going to get. So again, you're worried about game 85.
Well, speaking of Edmonton struggle defensively, we've got a defenseman leaving Edmonton. Oh, Krusty, have you not heard? You definitely know this one.
Oh, I definitely know this one.
The Edmonton Oilers have done it. This has been on the trade block, the circulation, the whatever for a while. They have wanted to move Darnell Nurse's contract, and he is gone. Darnell Nurse is your newest San Jose Shark. Edmonton retains nothing, which I think was the craziest thing that everybody was just surprised about. Not that Nurse was being traded, but that Nurse's contract, everything moves to San Jose. For those who are unfamiliar with Darnell Nurse, and Krusty, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he got a lot of unnecessary flack the last couple of years. Has his performance been lights out fantastic? No. But I feel like some of Darnell Nurse's hatred is a little Seth Jones similar of, I don't actually hate the guy, I just hate the contract, and I hate the man who made the contract, but it's easier for me to just hate the player than think through that thought. Because he did have a pretty massive contract. Now that contract is off to the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, this has so many different layers and outlets to it. It's phenomenal. My first thought is remember this date, July 1st.
Yeah.
Stan Bowman gets rid of a huge contract for a defenseman who signed this huge contract at the age of 25. He has to retain nothing. Kyle Davidson on the same day signs the number 3 defenseman from the Buffalo Sabres, who is 25, to a contract that is over $12 million. Now, there's also Greer, who was, up until this point, considered the smartest general manager in the world. Yeah, I know Zito might have a question about that, and he takes on this contract. So much craziness. Is Darnell Nurse the reason Edmonton did not win cups? No. We've discussed this on the show before. You're a top pairing defenseman. You are going to make mistakes. And especially in this game of hockey, like we find out with the Blackhawks and everybody, there's no way you go, he's the problem. If you're ever thinking this one guy is the problem, trust me, you've got multiple layers. He tried to stick it out again as we've talked about on the show before, you mentioned Seth Jones. The fan base needs somebody to blame. And he was it. That contract did not go well. Trust me, when he signed that, he was an offensive defenseman that was huge. And it was a cap miss. Yes?
So Darnell Nurse, was the contract signed, I'm assuming, pre-Bouchard, too?
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's before they got Evan Bouchard. And the only reason they got Evan Bouchard is because Stan Bowman didn't draft Evan Bouchard.
Could have been black.
With the layers continue. It's all about layers.
It's an onion.
Kudos. We talked about this a little bit. I think everybody is shocked that there was no retention. And from what I had heard is there was San Jose and Anaheim that were both looking to grab him with no retention. There was other teams. There was Philadelphia. There was Boston and another team from the East that were also in on Darnell Nurse, but they needed Edmonton to at least retain some of it, which they were a no-go. And once they got bidders for that, that just took off. Again, Nurse is an improvement defensively for San Jose. There is no doubt about it. At the end of the day, he might not be a Trouba type thumper, but he is a thumper back there that if you put him in the number 4 position, will be able to play really well for you. Again, San Jose is missing defensive pieces. This gets them through. As of right now, this is not too much of a cap issue for them. Granted, at some point in time, the cap comes into play, but they're hoping that might be like the last year of this contract. So
Right.
I don't understand it from San Jose's point completely, but again, they want to be relevant next year. And this gives you a heavy body back there.
And speaking of more San Jose additions, we've got Mason Marchment to the San Jose Sharks, Eric Comrie to the San Jose Sharks, and Jacob Trouba to the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, so that's a pretty troublesome thumping. You went out and got 3 thumpers. So now you have 3 people out there.
Eric Comrie is not or are you referring to Nurse as a thumper?
Yes.
Okay.
Nurse, Trouba,
Comrie is a goaltender.
and Marchment.
Yeah.
And with marching orders of they're not allowed to take too many liberties with Celebrini. I mean, that's what you're doing. You have a pretty solid you have a pretty solid group of people that will run to his defense.
What's that like?
So
that would be really fun to have.
Again, they're loading up. They have the same problem that the Blackhawks have right now. It's one thing to be on the cusp of turning the corner. It's another thing to actually do it when everybody starts going, oh, we're game planning for them. I know exactly what I want to do. I've got Trouba and Nurse back there. I plan to dump the puck behind them and beat them to the puck every single time. It's hard to make those progressions. So we'll see what happens. They're definitely trending in the right direction, and they've got a boatload of young talent. So, but again, they're looking to make the playoffs next year. It's just, as we'll go through of somewhat today, well, so is everybody else.
Yeah.
Anaheim's loading up. Utah's loading up. We've only got one team unloading, and that's Vancouver. So, I get what San Jose is doing. Another 3 years for Trouba. Sheesh, that's a little rush. I'm glad we didn't get saddled with him. I know there was a lot of talk of that. But so you have, Trouba signed for 4 years. So you have Trouba and Nurse signed up for 4 more years. So it's going to be a tall ask, and you're still not solid in net. So it's just a lot of things that can go wrong forward-wise. They're getting a little bit better defensively, but we'll see. Sorry, I talked too long on that.
No, you are totally fine. Christy,
we can do whatever you want to do, Hockey Princess. It's your show.
I've got one more extension and then a bit of drama that I'd like your thoughts and feelings on.
I don't like to talk about drama, but I always have thoughts and feelings.
Well, it's contract drama, not like people's personal life drama.
Okay, that's good.
First one, the Mickey Mouse is headed down south to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Is your third Chicago Blackhawk in like the last, 2 years that's gone down to Tampa, after Davidson has let them walk or just let them go. I'd like everybody to remind, but we're going to get to the first two in a little bit because I have some thoughts and feelings about some stuff that was said at Dev Camp yesterday. But Mickey Mouse is headed to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think, we've both said that we like Mickey Mouse's game. I think he'll do well down there. I mean, it's Tampa. I'm very curious to see Tampa come September and October because I think they're one of those where it's like they look great in the regular season, but they're starting to spook me a little bit in the postseason. But I'm just curious as to see how they look come the beginning of the year. And I think Mickey Mouse is a good addition. Why Kyle couldn't pay him an extra $1 million for another year is beyond me. But, I think if I understood the workings of GM stuff, maybe my life would be less stressful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple sides to that. Number one, you don't like to lose. Number two, as you'll get into with the other players, nobody wants to be with an organization that is touting their losing, almost bragging how much they're losing and very happy with it. As an older player, that sticks in your craw pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse has a ton of speed, a fantastic penalty killer. He fits Cooper's game completely, except 100%. For the fact he's not a shit starter. And Tampa, I would assume they'll have a little talk with him and go, listen, we all play a little rough.
Yeah.
Everybody must. It's part of our identity.
I feel like there's been times where the Mickey Mouse he definitely has the capability to.
I think when it's explained to you and you're told, listen, we're all in this together. We play a certain way. So we've all got to do our part sticking up. I think that'll all be fine. Great addition for Tampa.
100%.
Again, everybody's getting better, and wow, there's a lot of big boy teams out there. So I'm glad for them. I think at the end of the day, it didn't make any difference what Kyle was giving. You had to blow him out of the water, and with that, you're talking $5 or $6 million a year for 4 years. You're going to take less to go play on a winner.
Yeah.
So.
But we will miss you. You will be missed.
And
then final bit of drama from today is, we've got all of these different players wanting out of the cities and everything. And some of them have been right, these speculations. And then some of these speculations result in a letter from the player and from management saying, you know what, actually, Werenski is staying. That was a lie. He doesn't want out. He's staying. He's committed to being here. Love this for Columbus Blue Jackets fans, just because, gosh, I just love to see Columbus succeed. Like, I'd love to see them just get to the next level. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the Werenski bit.
Like everything else we've talked about this evening, there's layers to all of that. It's an onion. It affects two teams now. If we've learned anything in the last 2 weeks, is there's a lot of organization with not tight-lipped people. There's a lot of stuff getting out between Robertson's contract offer with Seattle, Werenski's trade to Dallas for Thomas Harley. Who's leaking this stuff? Maybe one of the teams, maybe an agent. Don't know. But
I mean, you even have this at the trade deadline. I mean, it was the Parayko stuff that kept getting leaked.
Mm-hmm. Everything comes out.
Yeah.
If I were to bet, that's a lot of agent. But I'm unsure with the Zach thing. He wanted to go to a winner. Well, the trade was set up for said winner. There's a lot of other things that go into this. Everybody gets emotional. I'm sure Zach saw Brady going here, these people going there. What about me? But you still have to go home and tell the wife she's got to move to Dallas. You got to tell the kids they're going out of school and they're going to go to. It's a lot more than just picking up and leaving. And I think kind of that's what all of a sudden he realized.
And I have a follow-up question thought.
So basically what you had stated is the gist of it all. Werenski wanted out. He asked to be traded.
Do we know?
It was never denied by anybody. If you don't want it out there, you come out and deny it. I have no desire. I mean, you even had Brady Tkachuk lying all the time saying he had no desire.
Right. That was my thing, where it was like, was there ever confirmation? Like, there seems to be more confirmation about Larkin wanting out. Was there actual confirmation that Werenski wanted out? Or was this drummed up?
I don't believe it was drummed up.
Okay.
I believe it came out. Again, you're putting out feelers. How's this all going to go? What's going to happen? I believe, I don't think there's perfect communication, but he basically comes out and says, I don't want to be here long term. So, if I can be moved, I might not be completely against that. And then most organizations figure, well, you want to go to a contender. So they set it up for him, brought it back to him, and goes, I don't want that. And the other part of the onion is you now have Thomas Harley on your team that you were ready to discard. And now you're going to say, oh, no, we want you. There's a lot of ifs and ands to this. I don't think it's that big of a deal with Hardly, just because it's Zach Werenski.
Yeah.
You understand the business. You don't have a no movement clause like other people do now, but we'll get to that later. So I don't think Zach thought it all the way through. And you're right. There's not complete communication. Even the Larkin situation. Have you heard an exact quote from Larkin saying he wants out?
No, the only thing I've heard is from Stevie Y.
Yeah, I hear things from people saying they want to, but you never hear from the player because the player's never going to come out.
Right.
No different than like what Patty Kane went through or everything else. That's Agent 101. You don't talk about any of this stuff.
Right.
That's why you pay me very handsomely. And now can everything be mended? I don't know. But yeah, there was an awful lot of drama. The stuff I'm hearing is this might just be a reset. There's still games to be played about if you can go where or there. There's a lot of dysfunction in the NHL right now. That's all I know. Some teams are taking advantage of it.
Yes.
Washington Capitals. Other teams are not.
How are the Washington Capitals taking advantage of dysfunction?
They seem to be putting together one heck of a team through other teams' dysfunction.
I just think that's smart.
Right. So they're taking advantage of it. I think, there's a yin to the yang.
I think you do have to take advantage because, it's July 1 and number 8 has not been confirmed. And so if number 8 is not coming back, then you better capitalize on everybody else's silly mistakes.
Yeah. And, as we talked about last week, I think this is what you present to number 8 going, look at all this.
Right.
Okay. I don't need you to do. I just need you to be 8 and that's it. Everybody else will do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So the Werenski stuff is crazy. These things have a way of working it out. I don't know what that looks like though. I don't know. And the Larkin stuff, nobody knows.
Who knows? Christy, do you have any other ones that you want to talk about from today before we jump to an ad break?
Oh, an ad break? Oh, I've got to read them. Oh, I'm not ready for that. Hold on, I could be ready.
All right, well, Krusty's getting that really quickly. Want to touch into that most teams are having their development camps right now. The Edmonton Oilers have invited, Abby Murphy, Chloe Primerano, and Aaron Ambrose, as well as one other player, to the dev camp. For anyone that is having an issue that just straight up women are at the NHL development camp, first of all, go touch grass. For anyone that does not like this because they believe that it's a PR stint covering the Mike Babcock hiring, I completely understand the train of thought. However, anytime I get to see female hockey players, I'm going to be excited for it.
Well, I'm very excited for it. And on a side note, my Team USA jersey came yesterday with a nice 37 on the back of it. I am ready for the 3rd and 4th of July.
Incredible. It's Abby Murphy, Chloe Primerano, Caitlin Kramer, and Aaron Ambrose. I wanted to make sure that I got the last individual. And with that, we are going to kick it to an ad break.
Okay, it all comes down to this, a best of 7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered. DraftKings sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. You can sweat every shift of the World Cup all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code THPN, spend $5 and get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet text pass through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
Christy, we have hockey in Chicago in July.
We do.
It's been 4 years.
It has been.
Feels pretty great.
It does. Is that what you want to talk about next? I got a ladybug going over my computer, but now
Cute little ladybug.
we
can talk Dev Camp, or we can talk free agency stuff. What are you feeling first, Christy?
Our free agency stuff, or are we still on the NHL?
We're just on our stuff.
Okay, so we have left the NHL world. I've got more stuff, but I don't want to. We won't talk about it now. We can do wrap-ups throughout the summer.
Yes.
But I did want to at least state that there was one offer sheet made for Brandon Heaton of your Tusk Up Utah Mammoth. Okay, let's talk development camp. If you'd like.
Guys, it's been so long. It's been so long. They used to do this a while ago, and then they took the fun away from us. But now they've given us the fun back. For folks that are new to, what is development camp. Development camp is different than training camp, preseason. Used to just be labeled prospect camp. Once upon a time ago, it was prospect camp, and it was a whole week in the middle of July, and then it backed into the convention when everybody would be here and party in honor of my birthday. But we've got on-ice dev camp this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It is typically players that were drafted this year. So you've got Villeneuve, you've got Rohrbeck. You also have guys that were drafted maybe like last year, and any other collegiate player that chooses to go. Because as a reminder, collegiate players cannot go to training camp or anything in September. 1, because they will be at school, and 2, because that breaks their contract with being a student athlete at their school. But they can go to dev camp. So you've got your Nestracel, you've got John Mustard, you've got Mason West, you've got all of these collegiate guys here. Guys, I'm so excited to go watch the Cake Eater tomorrow morning. Krusty's already seen him. I am jazzed. But it's fun. You've got a couple of goaltenders. You've got Guyon, Berezhnoi, and it's a handful of people. I really loved to see Kendall down on the ice, working with the kiddos, as well as a couple of Minnesota Frost coaches. For those that are wondering, why do we need to bring in more people? Why do we need to bring in Minnesota Frost people? Because I'm pretty sure they've won a championship sooner than some of the other coaches that the Blackhawks have on staff. And I want the kiddos to be coached by champions. So it was a great thing to see.
Yeah, their skating instructor really could skate, that's for sure. It was pretty dynamite. It's not prospect camp like we're used to, where you had a lot more people. There was a little bit of scrimmaging, a little bit more entertainment for the fans that would come out. I did go yesterday, and it's a group working with like 5 guys for the first half of the session, and then they both joined together. The best part of it was there was a little 3-on-2 corner drill, which was pretty fun to watch. That's what I'm looking for. The drawback is, like in prospect camps before, one of the highlights for you and me was always there's at least I'd say 5 to 10 set of parents there. I did not see anybody's parents.
Love being
So
able
that
to
was a
meet
little,
Gustav Forsling's parents.
yeah. So I mean, I kind of was looking forward to that, but it was great to see some hockey like we used to in this little bit of a break time. So I'm glad they did it. It looked like they knew what they were doing this time. There was the 1 year that they kind of did it, and then they stopped after getting Connor Bedard. And even that last year, it didn't look all that. This one looked pretty good. They were set up with drills. They had iPads out showing everybody exactly what they wanted during the drills, breaking them down even more. So it was neat, and it's great to see these youngsters. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, not as much as I had prospect camp before. But again, you take something away from somebody for 3 years, you just give him a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, that tastes good," and that was
And
great.
guys, it's hockey in July.
Yes.
Whether it's good or bad, I'm gonna watch hockey in July because I'm just really glad to have it.
And I got there a little early, so I did see about 12 NHLers also going through their drills with stuff. And that was a NASCAR. Murphy was in town and a bunch of other guys. We don't have to name them all. So,
You can name Gabe Perreault has been photographed everywhere.
yeah. And again, Gabe's father has worked here before, one of the face-off gurus, as they like to say.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be having fun. The kids seem to be having fun. They were all pretty into it. I did like the XV, as we're calling him now. Him and Put a Spell on You did do a little bit of signing for some younger kids at the end of it, which I enjoyed. So it's just a good thing. And people say, well, what is this, just for the fans? And I say, yes, that's what it's all about. Yes, it's for the fans. Give us something to be excited about. You want to watch hockey. So again, there's not much of a takeaway you're going to get from it, especially from somebody like me. During the skating drills, I can't tell you who had great edge work and who didn't, and who was able to turn better. But I was positive that watching these skating drills, that Vaneker was a lot better of a skater than Crumby. I was able to take that away from it, which, again, if you know the two players, that was probably a given before actually watching anything. So.
Yes. They also play different positions.
They do. But the XV, he could skate with the best of them. So,
yeah, you're all in on the XV. I'm excited to go see the Finn.
Yes, the Finn looked good too, and yes, I am all in on the XV. I think it's a position where you swing for the fences, see where we're at in 3 years. Which I was more than happy to trade up to get Club. And the clip of them asking him exactly how to pronounce his name has gone viral, I believe, and it was just unbelievable because he's got a huge Russian last name. They asked him how to pronounce it, and he said, Club. Priceless. He is going to entertain.
He's going to do so well in Montreal.
So that's the gist of development camp. I don't know if you wanted to state, you also had information about the little bit of what they call now prospect camp, where the newer kids report a week early. It's just going to be us in St. Louis this year. Us in
St. Louis, because Billy G's afraid of what we've got in store with our prospects. So there will be no Minnesota. So guys, usually before training camp, the prospects report, they do a little, it's a tourney. It's the Tom Curvers.
It used to be a Tom Curvers tourney where up in the great north, there was like 6 or 8 teams that would gather. It would be a week-long thing. It was very entertaining. One of the things that crusty as always. We'll look back at it and saying, you never made it up there. And those seem to be going away for the most part, especially with the shortened preseason and the early start this year.
It's only so early you want to drag those kids up, especially because, you've got kids that may not, report to Chicago, but, they could easily go down for Rockford's training camp. And that's where a lot of them go when they get cut from Chicago's training camp. So you don't want to ask a lot of these young kids to come in too early, but they'll be doing a little tourney face-off thing against the St. Louis Blues. Should be pretty exciting. But yeah, it's hockey in July, friends. It's great. We had some management that was available for media Tuesday, yesterday, today, and then I would assume tomorrow or today when this comes out. But there was some management that was around for media. Obviously, you had KD with the free agency out today, but there was management that was asked about, you've got kids that have been drafted that, everybody kind of oohed and ahhed about and kind of made their way onto other teams, made their way to so far as to the postseason with other teams. And, they were asked, what are your thoughts and feelings about, some of these kids essentially not buying into this rebuild and this idea, I'm going to use quotation marks, that is kind of going on right now with Chicago. And I'd like to pull up the quote because
you like quotes?
Yeah, I really do. Well, because if I'm going to have opinions, I'd like to, get their wording right. If guys want to shy away from that, maybe they weren't who we thought they were. Pretty sure playing postseason hockey before Connor Bedard isn't shying away from anything. I think going to go play competitive hockey isn't shying. If anything, you're kind of going in the opposite direction of shying away. I didn't like the wording because it was a direct, you can tell it's pretty much a direct attack on Dominic James and Jack Pridham, both who were drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks and are now with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't like the direct attack. I don't find it necessary. I think it's a little childlike. I think it's a little, your girlfriend breaks up with you. And you decide to, kind of talk smack of, well, I was going to break up with her first. Like, that's what they sound like. And so I just really didn't appreciate it. And I really don't find it true whatsoever because you have Dominic James out there playing in the playoffs. And we're still in the draft lottery.
Yeah, I get the question.
Spin this to the opposite.
No, I like to put the other side of the coin out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely Mark Eaton doesn't need to say anything.
No.
These are kids, and if we've learned anything, especially in the last 3 weeks, is everybody is starting to take care of their own future. And that's what people do. This is not a destination. Are there people who look at this organization and go, what's going on? Sure. And everybody knows my shelf life is small. I don't want to be someplace where I'm unsure what's going on. You've got to respect them enough to just, Mark's just got to let that question pass.
Yeah.
And say they've got to do what they need to do. Yeah, it's a shot that doesn't need to be fired. Your job is to make this a destination where people want to come here. That's what you're trying to build. That should be the only message, is we're going to get there.
Not taking shots at 21-year-olds.
Yeah, and, I'm sure Pridham just laughed about it. He's got a lot of hockey savvy through his father. His father is a bigwig in the NHL. They know how all of this works. An unnecessary comment. It's nothing close to the classic Dennis Savard. If you don't want to wear the Indian head, we'll get you out. I'll get you out tomorrow. You got to commit. We're not there yet that you can actually start saying stuff like that. So I just wish he wouldn't have said anything.
Me too.
So I'm with you on that. There's not an opposite side. So let's go on.
Well, I think then we have to get into today.
Yes, today.
We had some free agency bids. Guys, and if there was really any indicator of that this is not a destination, it was today. However, I do think Katie has been erring on the side of caution ever since, 2 years ago with the Tavo, the acquiring like 8 guys the first day of free agency. I think we're just never going to see that again in Chicago. But not a ton of acquisitions from straight up free agency. You got Ian Cole and Cole Smith as your bigger NHL additions coming out of free agency. There were a couple of other ones, but it is expected that they will report to Rockford, be it the new ones and also the re-signing of Big Booch and Connor Milmock. The other one big signing that we have is with the Bo Byram. You've got 6 years for $12.5 million. As of right now, he is the highest paid defenseman. And like he said, that probably won't last for long.
No, but it's going to last for right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with that. I believe he was able to come in and say, I want this. You have absolutely no leverage. We were thinking 10 mil. I think he just tacked out another 2.5 mil because I can. And it's not just that part of it that sticks in my craw a little bit. It's the other thing of he has a full no movement clause. And if we've learned anything of the problem of no movement clauses, Katie has hitched his wagon to Bo Byram. We've discussed Bo Byram at length. He's a hockey player I like.
Same.
He also has never been more than a number 3 on any team.
Yeah.
Who is now the highest paid player. I think Katie is still just learning on the job. This is a terribly handled negotiation. I've been a Katie, whatever you want to call me, as I don't completely agree with everything. I do like the fact that he decided he was going to make a move.
Right.
This is his first move that actually has consequences for where this team might be at.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, if Bo Byram in 3 years is still the number 1 defender on this team,
we have bigger problems.
We're in trouble. Will this contract age well? It should. It'll be a little bit of an albatross once everything falls into place, but oh well, this is kind of what you have to do. We've discussed it's not a destination, so that means you're going to have to overcompensate to get players, and you're going to have to overpay. It's just the way it is right now in the rebuild.
For sure. I also do think, like you said, if Bo Byram is still the number 1 defenseman in 3 years, it is a problem. Absolutely. But that's not Bo Byram's, that's not on Bo if he's still the number 1 defenseman. That's on Kyle. That's on coaching, plain and simple. If anything, if Bo Byram is the number 1 defenseman, I would argue that's partially on Bash. If, Artie is still in the same position in a couple of years, that is management that is coaching. I would say that's an even 50-50 between the two. I wouldn't solely put that on KD. I wouldn't solely put that on Bash, but I do think that that is a tandem that needs to be on the same page to get Artie where he needs to go in development. And so I think that is hugely on both staffs. If Artie is still where he's at, I don't think he will be, because I'm a big supporter of Artie, and he's going to be an absolute superstar. Like we've said at length, you're going to have to overpay. We also have the money to overpay. Taking out the whole destination aspect, we have to spend money to just at least get to the cap, or not constantly being at the cap floor. And gosh darn it, it feels kind of nice to be paying a guy who's actually going to be on the ice. We've been using Ryan Ellis's and Shea Weber's contract to get to the cap floor. Do I really care that Bo Byram's getting paid $12.5? No, because it's Bo Byram's contract that's getting us to the cap floor instead of a guy who retired years ago. Like, is the bar really low with that sort of thing? Sure, but oh well, I don't hate it. It's, like I said, we've got the money to worry about everything else.
Yeah, it's at some point in time you have to throw down on big decisions and hope for the best.
Right. And we've been, how many seasons have we been knocking against KD? You have to make a move. You have to make a move. It's hard to judge what KD has done because he's only made easy decisions. Well, I'm not going to immediately love or hate this decision because I want to actually see how it pans out. But I'm not going to knock him for making this decision, because at least, 4 years into the rebuild, we actually have something more substantial than just an easy decision for him to make.
Yeah, and again, it's been pointed out, with having Bo here, everybody slots a little bit. It definitely takes pressure off of your younger defensemen.
Right.
That they don't have to come in and do everything, which was very apparent this year that you needed to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to – can I bash KD that he was taken to school for the contract signing? Yes. Was he taken to school as far as the trade? Oh, gosh, yes. But it's the situation you're in now.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was all part of the plan. You know the plan.
I know the plan like the Red Wings know their plan. Nobody has a plan.
Well, it's just none of this stuff comes easy. It doesn't. I hope there's more things to be done, because right now we're still a bottom 5 team. I will state the same thing to everyone who thinks we're not a bottom 5 team. Tell me who we're going to be better than. And there's just not that many teams out there. So, hopefully more to be revealed. The huge problem, right? We need more players. We're thinking maybe we can make some steps. You're talking right now that everybody has to exceed expectations and nobody can get hurt. The problem with us right now is still you have no depth. None whatsoever. If we've learned anything, these players aren't going to play all year. So I'm hoping there's a little bit more done. I will not knock KD for this. We're moving forward. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the ray of sunshine for everybody.
Okay.
Sunshine Crusty.
Sunshine Crusty. Crusty, do you have any other thoughts on the big club for this week?
No, I think we've got most of the summer to talk about it. We'll see any other trades or whatever else is done. We've still got a lot of movement. We'll see how it all goes. I'm looking forward to going tomorrow and watching some kids skate around some more. So.
Absolutely. So, folks, for next week, we're going to do something a little bit different. Krusty's still going to be here. Don't worry. Next week, we're going back to school, even though it is the summer. We are doing a massive Hockey 101. We're not going to report on any big clubs, P-Dub, prospects, whatever. We are strictly going to go to school. So if you are new to hockey or not new to hockey, and there is an aspect of the game, of the draft, of free agency, really anything about the sport of hockey that you have a question about or you want to hear more about, please let us know, because we're going to take everybody's thoughts and feelings and questions and make one big Hockey 101 episode for next week. Should be pretty fun. I'm excited.
If you're excited, I'm excited.
And we're excited. Chris, you got any final thoughts for this week?
I do not.
All right, folks, that is all, and we will talk to you guys next week.